One day, the people you thought would walk with you may disappear, and in that silence, you'll discover your true strength. It is an undeniable truth of life that no matter how close people may seem, no matter how deeply they promise to stay, there will be moments when you will be left to face the world by yourself. Sometimes it is because circumstances change, sometimes because people change, and sometimes simply because life demands that you walk a certain path alone. This realization can be painful, but it can also be liberating, because it shows you that the greatest strength you will ever need has always been inside of you. Standing alone is not easy. From the moment we are born, we crave connection. We want companionship, validation, and reassurance that we are not navigating this unpredictable world by ourselves. And while love and support are beautiful gifts, they are not permanent guarantees. People can leave, they can fail you, they can misunderstand you, and sometimes they can even betray you. If your strength is tied only to the presence of others, you will always feel fragile. But when you learn the art of standing alone, you find a source of power that nothing and no one can take away from you. The strength of standing alone begins with self-reliance. It is the ability to depend on yourself when the crowd disappears, to pick yourself up when no one else is around, and to push forward even when the path feels too heavy. Self-reliance is not isolation, it is independence. It is knowing that while others may support you, your survival, your growth, and your success are not dependent on their presence. When you build this kind of inner stability, you stop living in fear of abandonment, because you know that even if everyone else walks away, you are still capable of rising. Standing alone reveals who you truly are. When you are surrounded by people, it is easy to lean on them for strength, to hide your weaknesses behind their presence, to define your worth by their approval. But when you are alone, the masks fall away. You face yourself in raw honesty. You confront your doubts, your fears, and your insecurities. At first, this can feel overwhelming, but it is also the beginning of true empowerment. Because in that silence, you realize that you are not as weak as you thought, not as fragile as you feared, and not as dependent as you once believed. Strength does not come from what you have when life is easy. It comes from how you endure when life is hard. Standing alone teaches you endurance. It forces you to walk through loneliness, through uncertainty, through failure, and through pain without the constant comfort of someone else's hand. It tests your ability to keep moving forward when every step feels like it should be your last. And yet, when you emerge from those moments, you realize that solitude did not break you. It made you unbreakable. Standing alone also gives you clarity. When you are surrounded by noise, it is difficult to hear your own voice. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has advice, and sometimes their voices drown out your own intuition. But in the stillness of standing alone, you begin to hear yourself more clearly. You discover what you truly want, not what others expect from you. You uncover your deepest values, your truest passions, and your authentic vision. This clarity becomes your compass, guiding you through life with a sense of purpose that cannot be shaken by outside influences. The strength of standing alone is also the strength of resilience. Every rejection, every disappointment, every betrayal can feel like a storm threatening to destroy you. But when you stand alone, you learn how to weather storms without waiting for someone else to shield you. You realize that pain is survivable, that loss does not define you, and that heartbreak does not mean the end. Each time you endure alone, you build resilience that prepares you for the next challenge. And with every challenge overcome, your confidence grows, not because someone saved you, but because you saved yourself. There is also freedom in standing alone. When you no longer fear solitude, you stop clinging to toxic relationships, unhealthy attachments, and environments that drain your spirit. You stop settling for less than you deserve simply because you are afraid of being by yourself. You start to understand that solitude is not emptiness. It is space. Space to grow, to heal, to dream, to build, and to rise without distraction. When you are not afraid to stand alone, you are free to live authentically, free to pursue your own path, and free to say no to anything that compromises your worth. Standing alone demands courage. It takes courage to pursue dreams when no one else believes in them, courage to walk paths that others laugh at, courage to make decisions that no one understands. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes it is the quiet determination to keep moving when you feel invisible, unsupported, or underestimated. that courage is born in solitude, and once you have it, no obstacle can truly defeat you. Many of the greatest achievements in history were born from individuals who dared to stand alone. They were mocked, doubted, and abandoned, yet they continued anyway. What gave them strength was not the crowd's approval, but their inner conviction. Their willingness to walk alone was what set them apart, and that same strength lives in you. You may not see it yet, you may not feel it yet, but every time life forces you to stand by yourself, it is giving you the opportunity to discover it. Standing alone also builds discipline. Without accountability from others, it becomes your responsibility to stay committed. It is easy to give up when no one is watching, easy to slack off when no one is keeping you on track. But when you train yourself to keep going, even in silence, you build the discipline that leads to mastery. Discipline is forged in solitude, in the moments when you choose consistency over comfort, persistence over excuses, and effort over ease. That discipline becomes unshakable strength, carrying you through every stage of your journey. There is a misconception that standing alone means loneliness, but loneliness and solitude are not the same. Loneliness is the absence of connection, solitude is the presence of self. Loneliness feels empty, solitude feels empowering. When you shift your perspective and learn to embrace solitude, you realize that being alone does not mean being abandoned. It means being available to yourself in the deepest way possible. In solitude, you cultivate self-awareness, self-love, and self-trust, which then form the pillars of unshakable strength. Sometimes, the people who leave you are not meant to walk with you to the next stage of your life. Sometimes they're eggs. It is not a loss, but a clearing of space so you can grow. Standing alone teaches you that you do not need everyone to stay. You only need the courage to keep moving forward, even if that means walking by yourself. The journey may be quieter, but it will also be more authentic. And as you grow stronger in solitude, the right people, those who respect your strength and not your dependence, will be drawn to you. When you are ready to stand alone, you discover that fear loses its grip. Fear thrives on the idea that you cannot survive without others, that you will crumble without approval, that you will fail without support. But once you have proven to yourself that you can stand, build, and rise independently, fear has nothing left to hold on to. You realize that while you value love and connection, you do not depend on them for survival. That realization makes you fearless, because it shows you that you are capable of enduring the worst and still creating the best. Standing alone sharpens your vision. Without distractions, you begin to see clearly where you want to go, who you want to become, and what you want to achieve. You are no longer swayed by the expectations of others or the trends of the moment. You begin to walk with intention, grounded in your own truth. That clarity, combined with the resilience built in solitude, makes you unstoppable. You become a force that no rejection, no criticism, and no abandonment can silence. Every time you stand alone, you prove to yourself that you are enough. Enough to carry your dreams, enough to overcome challenges, enough to thrive without constant reassurance. The strength of standing alone is the realization that your worth is not measured by who stays with you, but by who you become when you are by yourself. It is in those moments, when you stand alone and yet rise anyway, that you discover the deepest, purest form of strength. Life will break you down, but resilience is the voice that whispers, "You are not done yet." Every single person faces moments that feel unbearable, moments of failure, rejection, loss, or heartbreak where the weight of life feels too heavy to carry. In those moments, you may look around for someone to pick you up, someone to reassure you, someone to share the burden. But what happens when no one is there? What happens when silence is your only company, when the crowd disappears, and when comfort is nowhere to be found? That is when resilience is born. It is not born in applause, not born in celebration, not born in easy victories. Resilience is forged in solitude, in the quiet battles no one sees, in the nights you cry yourself to sleep, in the mornings you drag yourself out of bed despite wanting to give up. Resilience is not just survival. It is the determination to rise even when you feel shattered. Solitude has a way of stripping away illusions. When you are left alone with your struggles, there is no one to blame, no one to lean on, no one to shield you from the storm. It forces you to face reality directly, without filters, without excuses. And though it may feel cruel, this confrontation is what strengthens you. Because the truth is, no one else can carry your dreams, no one else can live your battles, no one else can walk your path. You are given your life because you are capable of living it, And when you learn to endure pain and hardship in solitude, you build resilience that cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. Resilience in solitude is not just about enduring pain. It is about transforming it. Pain, if left unchecked, can consume you. It can make you bitter, hopeless, and paralyzed. But pain, when faced with resilience, becomes fuel. It teaches you lessons no textbook can teach. It molds your character in ways comfort never could, and it prepares you for opportunities that ease would never demand. When you suffer alone and still rise, you are no longer the same person. You are stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. And every time you repeat this process, your resilience grows deeper, making you ready for even greater challenges. The moments of solitude where you are forced to pick yourself up are the moments where your identity begins to solidify. You learn who you are when no one is cheering, no one is validating, no one is clapping for your effort. You learn who you are when the only voice you hear is the one inside your head, urging you to try one more time. That voice, quiet but persistent, is resilience. It may whisper instead of roar, but its power is undeniable. It keeps you moving when everything around you suggests you should quit. Resilience in solitude also teaches you adaptability. Life rarely goes according to plan. The paths you envisioned often get blocked, the opportunities you expected may vanish, and the people you relied on might walk away. If your strength depends on external stability, you will crumble when it disappears. But if you build resilience in solitude, you learn how to adapt. You learn that even when one door closes, you can build your own door. Even when one path ends, you can carve another. Even when no one is guiding you, you can trust your instincts to find a way forward. This adaptability ensures that you are never stuck, never defeated, never defined by circumstances. Resilience born in solitude also shapes your emotional endurance. Pain, rejection, and loneliness test your emotions to their limits. They make you feel unworthy, forgotten, and invisible, but the more you endure these emotions, the stronger you become at handling them. You no longer fear rejection because you have survived it. You no longer dread heartbreak because you know it will not destroy you. You no longer feel paralyzed by loneliness because you have walked through it and discovered your own company. Emotional endurance means that the storms of life may shake you, but they will never break you. There is a unique kind of power in knowing you can survive alone. When you realize that you do not need constant support to endure hardship, you free yourself from dependence. You stop clinging to toxic people just because you are afraid of solitude. You stop seeking validation in places that diminish your worth. You stop begging for acceptance because you know you can accept yourself. This independence gives you a quiet confidence, a strength that others cannot see but can always feel. People will notice that you do not break easily, that you do not collapse under pressure, that you do not need constant saving, and this strength commands respect. Resilience in solitude also deepens your self-trust. When you are alone and forced to make decisions, you learn to trust your judgment. You may make mistakes, but each mistake becomes a lesson that sharpens your instincts. Over time, you realize that you are capable of handling life's challenges without needing constant guidance. You develop an inner compass that grows sharper with every trial. Self-trust is one of the most valuable forms of resilience because it ensures that no matter where life places you, you will always find a way to rise. There is also a spiritual element to resilience in solitude. When everything else is stripped away, support, encouragement, companionship, you are left with yourself and the raw reality of existence. It is in this state that many discover a deeper connection to purpose, to meaning, to something beyond themselves. Struggle and solitude often awaken a sense of inner strength that feels larger than anything physical. This spiritual resilience gives you a profound calmness, a deep trust that even in chaos you will find your way. Resilience is not the absence of struggle, it is the mastery of it. You cannot avoid pain, you cannot escape rejection, and you cannot prevent every loss. But you can learn how to bend without breaking, how to endure without giving in, how to suffer without losing hope. Solitude provides the training ground for this mastery. It is in solitude that you practice patience, that you learn persistence, that you discover your capacity for growth. Each time you endure alone, you strengthen muscles of resilience that will carry you through greater challenges ahead. Think about the strongest people you admire. They were not shaped in times of comfort. They were shaped in silence, in struggle, in solitude. Their resilience was built when they had no choice but to rely on themselves, when they had to face the darkness without a guiding hand. And the same is true for you. Every lonely night, every painful setback, Every silent battle is molding you into someone stronger than you ever imagined. Resilience also requires reframing failure. When you are alone, failure feels heavier because there is no one to soften the blow. But solitude also gives you the space to reflect, to analyze, and to learn. You begin to see failure not as an ending, but as information. Information about what does not work, about what needs to change, about how you can improve. Failure becomes a teacher, not a destroyer. And the more you face failure alone, the less you fear it. You begin to realize that each failure brings you closer to growth, closer to wisdom, closer to success. Another dimension of resilience in solitude is patience. Enduring challenges alone often means waiting longer for breakthroughs, pushing harder without recognition, and believing without evidence. This requires patience, the ability to delay gratification, to trust the process, to persist even when results are invisible. Solitude teaches you that growth is not instant, that healing takes time, that success is often a slow climb. And once you develop this patience, you stop rushing, you stop panicking, you stop doubting. You learn to endure the weight with faith, and that endurance is resilience. Resilience in solitude also strengthens your identity. When you have endured struggles by yourself, you stop defining yourself by others' opinions. You know who you are because you have seen yourself at your weakest and still risen. You know your worth because you have survived moments when no one else validated it. This identity becomes unshakable. People may criticize you, doubt you, or misunderstand you, but their words lose power, because your resilience is built not on their approval, but on your own survival. The truth is, resilience is not glamorous. It is messy, painful, and often invisible. No one applauds you for the nights you cried but kept going. No one notices the mornings you got up when you felt broken. No one sees the silent battles you fight when your heart is heavy, but you still move forward. But those invisible battles are where true resilience is born. And when the world finally does see your strength, they will think it came out of nowhere, not realizing it was built quietly in solitude, one painful step at a time. When no one else believes in your dream, will you have the courage to believe in yourself? That is the question life throws at each of us in our darkest moments. Because there will come a time when the people you trusted turn away, when the ones you thought would cheer for you go silent, and when your dream seems too outrageous for anyone else to understand. In those moments, the world will whisper that you are not good enough, that you are not capable, that your ambition is too unrealistic. And if you do not have the fire of self-belief burning within you, you will give in to those whispers. You will abandon your dream before it has even had the chance to grow. But if you believe in yourself when no one else does, you hold the greatest power of all, the power to turn the impossible into reality. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is not pretending you know everything or refusing to listen to others. It is the quiet, unshakable confidence that no matter how difficult the path becomes, you will find a way to rise. It is the inner voice that tells you, I am capable. I may not have all the answers yet, but I will figure it out. I may stumble, but I will get back up. Without that voice, every setback feels like a dead end. With that voice, every setback becomes just another chapter in your growth. Think of how many dreams have died because people gave up the moment no one else believed in them. They had the vision, the talent, the passion, but because they lacked self-belief, they allowed the doubts of others to dictate their choices. They traded their dreams for safety, their passion for approval, their destiny for the comfort of blending in. And yet, every breakthrough that has ever shaped history was born from someone who dared to believe in themselves when no one else did. Every invention, every revolution, every work of art, every legacy began with a person who looked at the impossible and thought, why not me? Self-belief is the foundation of survival because it sustains you in solitude. When the applause fades, when the doors close, when the opportunities seem scarce, it is self-belief that tells you to keep showing up. It pushes you to train harder, to study longer, to fight smarter, to try again even when failure feels overwhelming. Without self-belief, every obstacle looks like proof that you should stop. With self-belief, every obstacle looks like proof that you are closer to something worth fighting for. Believing in yourself is not easy. It requires courage to trust your vision when others cannot see it. It requires resilience to face rejection without letting it define you. It requires patience to keep building when progress is invisible. But the alternative is far worse. living a life where your potential is wasted because you never gave yourself permission to pursue it. Self-belief means giving yourself permission to take risks, to dream big, to fail, to learn, and to rise again. One of the most powerful aspects of self-belief is that it changes the way you see challenges. A person without self-belief sees a wall and thinks, I can't go any further. A person with self-belief sees a wall and thinks, there must be a way over, under, or through. This mindset shift is the difference between those who stop and those who break through. Self-belief does not guarantee an easy journey, but it guarantees that you will not give up on the journey. It guarantees that you will find solutions where others see only problems. There is a reason why self-belief feels so rare, because it must often be built in silence, in loneliness, in the shadows. You cannot wait for others to hand it to you. People will project their fears onto you, telling you why your dream cannot be done, why you are not ready, why you are aiming too high. If you absorb those fears, you will shrink yourself to fit their limited vision. But if you hold on to your self-belief, you expand beyond their doubts. You prove to yourself and eventually to them that you are capable of far more than they imagined. Self-belief also protects you from comparison. In a world that constantly measures success by what others are doing, it is easy to feel behind, unworthy, or incapable. But when you believe in yourself, you stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. You understand that your journey is unique, that your pace is your own, and that comparison is the thief of joy. Self-belief allows you to celebrate your small steps forward, because you know they are moving you towards something greater. It is also important to recognize that self-belief is not built overnight. It is cultivated through action. Every time you push past fear, every time you try something new, every time you survive a failure and try again, you build a little more self-belief. It is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes, and the stronger it becomes, the more unstoppable you feel. But if you wait for perfect confidence before taking action, you will never move. The secret is to act even when you doubt yourself, and through action, you create the evidence that you are capable. That evidence then fuels even deeper self-belief. Self-belief does not mean ignoring reality. It means facing reality with faith in your ability to handle it. It means acknowledging your flaws without letting them define you. It means admitting what you don't know without believing you cannot learn. It means accepting failure without allowing it to end your story. Self-belief is not about being perfect. It is about knowing that even in imperfection, you are still worthy of pursuing greatness. When you believe in yourself, you attract opportunities that others cannot see. Confidence has a magnetic quality. People are drawn to those who radiate certainty, who carry themselves with quiet conviction, who act as though success is inevitable even when it has not yet arrived. This does not mean pretending or faking strength. It means embodying the belief that you will find a way forward, and because you believe, others begin to believe too, but it always starts with you. There will always be voices that try to drown out your belief. Some will laugh at your dreams, some will criticize your choices, some will remind you of your failures. If you allow their voices to become louder than your own, you will lose your path. But if you cultivate self-belief so deeply that it becomes unshakable, no voice can silence you. You will stand firm in your vision, regardless of who doubts you. Self-belief also means refusing to abandon yourself in times of struggle. Too often, people betray their own potential by giving up when life becomes hard. But if you truly believe in yourself, you will not walk away from your own possibilities. You will not abandon your talents, your passions, your dreams. You will stand by yourself even when no one else does. This loyalty to yourself is one of the greatest forms of strength. The truth is, believing in yourself is the ultimate survival tool because it gives you everything you need to endure. It gives you courage when fear is loud. It gives you hope when the future feels uncertain. It gives you energy when exhaustion tries to break you. It gives you vision when the world is blind to your dream. Without self-belief, you will constantly seek permission, validation, and approval. With self-belief, you will give yourself permission to keep going, even when no one else understands why. Self-belief is the seed of every great achievement. It does not matter how small you start, how difficult the journey is, or how many people doubt you. If you believe in yourself and are willing to act on that belief, you can survive any setback, overcome any obstacle, and transform any limitation. You may be underestimated, you may be rejected, you may be ignored, but as long as you do not underestimate yourself, reject yourself, or ignore yourself, you will rise. The world is full of people who stopped because no one else clapped for them. Do not let that be your story. The applause may come later, the recognition may take years, but your belief in yourself must remain unshakable from the beginning. It is the foundation, the anchor, the shield, and the fire that carries you through every storm. Believe in yourself when no one else does, because that belief is the ultimate power that will carry you through solitude, through struggle, and into the life you were destined to create.